created. And if you execute it, you should see it executing. It might take a few seconds for you if it's the first time executing, and you should see uh, your table, your actual output that's displayed over here. And if you have that, that's great. Now go ahead and make sure that you copy the next snippet of code to get the top purchases data frame. Just make sure in case you have your selecting the right data frame. So we want to make sure we are still using that data frame that we just loaded. And if we run that code, you will see if you don't have the right data frame, just make sure that it's got the right data frame. You should be able to see the output that we need here. So you should see the output over here. And let's keep going. Take the next snippet and get the top products, top preferred products. So we can execute that data frame that is coming from our previous top purchases. So we're actually doing a filter on is top product, is preferred product, and items. You should be able to execute that. And you can also take the next snippet of code for which is Spark SQL to create a view. Basically, we are creating a top 5 products. You can go ahead and execute that, and that should create our top 5 products here for us. Um, and it might take a few minutes to run as it's creating that. If there is no data available, we can take a look at that and go ahead and execute the next few segments of code so you can actually see it. Um, and you should be able to execute every segment of the code as you go through. And now what we want to do is we want to make sure that when we create the next cell, right? When we create the next cell, you can actually change the parameters, toggle it to a parameter cell. And we want to run this in a pipeline. So we want to take this snippet of code that is actually bringing in parameters for us from the pipeline. So toggle parameter cell. So, and then copy this next snippet for us. And then in the last cell that you create, let's make sure that you have your data just when you take that last cell and you're getting the top 5 products overall. Let's make sure that our data lake storage account, the location for your data lake is defined properly. If it is not defined, this will error out. You need to replace it and put in your data lake storage path. So let's make sure that you have the path defined properly over there. And then after that, you can save it as calculate top 5 products and just save the notepad. And you can click on use existing pipelines, and you can actually load it into, we can actually select the right user profile, click on add, and that should add it to our notebook over here. So now we are pretty good. We're very close to completing this. What we want to do is in this notebook activity, we want to have the notebook activity sit right after our data flow activity. So go ahead and select this green arrow and put it as the next step basically here, the next activity. So the success activity, this is the success activity instruction so that we execute the notebook after the data flow activity has successfully run. So go ahead and select that. And in the settings, this is where we want to pass in the parameter. So for our new parameter, we want to put in the run ID. And here we want to make sure that we add the dynamic content. So if you can select the pipeline run ID and have that set over there. So you should have the pipeline run ID, and then we can publish all of that. and it should be able to, you should be